Hi, I'm Duncan from Fishhead, and today we're talking about the Zenac Tabizo 8200. This is one of the very popular rods in that heavy all-rounder class. So it's a P8 to 10 rod, and it will suit a wide variety of lures, both poppers and stick baits. It casts from, they rate it for 120 to 210 grams as being the best match, but also a maximum weight of 230 grams. Their line rating is P6 to 10. I think it's pretty safe to call it a P8 to 10, and 8 foot in length, so right in that kind of popular size. It's the not too long, not too short Goldilocks range of casting length. Okay, component-wise, starting at the butt, Zenac uses a nice metal spacer at the bottom there that can help protect the butt of the rod from gimbal belts and things like that. Just reduces the scratching. Then you've got the Fuji reel seat with locking ring on it. Then we go into Fuji stainless frame silicone MNSG guides, so all heavy duty guides right through to the tip, and minimum size 16. So yeah, classic setup for heavy duty GT and tuna fishing. For the rod action, it starts off not being quite as stiff as you might expect from the heavy class rod, but it does have a nice elastic springiness to the tip with moderate firmness, and then that just steadily ramps up through the rod. There's not a big obvious step into a power band in the middle. It just ramps up smoothly all the way down until you hit the bottom end. Casting wise, we found this rod to be pretty comfortable casting all of the weights on test. So it went from the 130 gram total weight, it handled that beautifully, right through to the 210 gram big popper. So with the lure and hooks being 210 grams, it was no trouble through to there. So that certainly is part of what makes this rod popular, is its ability to cover a very wide range of cast weights quite comfortably. All right, so with this little Surfish 220, which weighs about 130 grams, the big Tabizo rod, sweeping it through the water, no trouble. It's perhaps a little bit on the stiff side for it. It certainly would suit more of a popper at this kind of weight more than the stick bait, but just nice steady sweeps and keep it slow and steady, and the lure is swimming fine. Just if you go a little bit aggressive on it, then it tends to make the stick bait want to jump out of the water a little more. All right, with the Declaw Bubbles 250, the lure's holding in quite nicely, and you can do reasonably aggressive sweeps and twitches. So at this kind of 160 gram weight for the stick bait, you're starting to come into the comfort zone for bigger stick baits on this rod. Certainly poppers at this size are going to be really easy, but yeah, you can get a nice mixture of retrieves here. Little twitches, long sweeps, yeah, really getting into its happy zone there. All right, the 210 gram weight is getting up to the top end of what the rod's recommended for. It says best match is up to 210 grams, but can go a maximum of 230. And I think 210 is a comfortable weight for the rod still, so it could probably go right through to that 230 grams without too much drama. But 210, you can really feel the rod loading up and slinging it pretty hard. As far as working the popper, it's definitely, it's not ripping it through the water as much as a super stiff popper specific rod. You can definitely feel that this is more like the heavy class all-rounder, but no trouble getting that giant cup to chug through the water and make a nice big blooping sound. So it handles this popper quite nicely, even though it's not purposely designed for pulling giant poppers through the water. So this is the Zenac Tabizo 8200. So you can see tip, moderate stiffness in the tip there, because it's a little bit more of an all-rounder for the poppers. There's definitely takes a little bit more effort before the tip folds away. Then we've got quite a supportive midsection that takes up a lot of pressure. And then get through that midsection and we're into, yeah, good strong loading bottom end. Okay, so to round up the Zenac Tabizo 8200, this rod's been a very popular choice for anglers chasing larger GTs and tuna in that 25 to say 60 kilo range, as it is, it's a nice combination of being able to work a wide variety of lures and is a proper P10 lifting rod insofar as it will lift big fish. So it is designed for that larger fish. So for casting lures, as we said, it handled from that 120 gram right through to the 210 gram with relative comfort. It is ideal where you're using, say, poppers or sinking stick baits at the smaller end, a range of poppers and stick baits in the middle, and then when it gets to the really, really big stuff, say upwards over 170, 180 grams, it'll still work some of those giant stick baits as well. So definitely has a big spread of what it can do lure-wise. Lifting, we did the 14 kilo deadlift on this rod and it did it very comfortably. So it certainly is easier on the body to lift bigger fish. Where the downside of all that is it is a slightly more tiring rod to use for long sessions. It's got more meat throughout the middle of the blank, which is great for working the lures and lifting the fish, but that also makes it a bit more tiring for casting in long sessions. Having said that, I'd still say it's at the top end of when someone says, I want the heaviest all-day casting rod I can get, this still fits the bill. So the main downsides of this rod is also its upside. So it's an all-rounder. So it's not the best popper rod going around. It's also not the best stick bait rod, but sits nicely in the middle. Yeah, and the other one is, as mentioned before, it's a physically bigger rod to use, but that's what you get when you want it's a straight up P10 rod in our book. Okay, thanks very much for watching. We'll be back next week with more reviews.